What's up, Sink Pissers? Josh, Clearing Waivers podcast, coming at you once again, back in the saddle after taking a week off of paternity leave. It's really just I couldn't do it. I mean, just wasn't interested in talking to these assholes once again. I was just over it. But we are back in the saddle. Usual crew: Brian, Rance, and Kitty once again. Lots kind of happened in the last couple weeks. Last time we talked, college football was shitting the bed. The Royals were in it to win it, and the Chiefs were still ramping up. Chiefs still very much ramping up. Royals not necessarily in it to win it at the moment, and college football seems to be still up in the air for the most part. But we got some more interesting things to kind of clear the waivers on again this week. But yeah, let's just jump right into it with clear the waivers. Hit us with your best shit, Summer.
The biggest stories of the week, we're clearing the waiver.
It means we're into it. Love it. This week, we're going to be kind of covering three basic topics here. Start off with the Travis Kelce extension. We wanted to talk about it last week. Decided to kind of push it until this week. But Travis Kelce signs an extension, 4 years, $57 million, $28 million guaranteed with a $14 million AAV. Pretty much all but guarantees that he'll be in the Kansas City Chiefs uniform until 2022. I think was pretty much like 3 years from now.
It's longer than that.
Yeah. You think?
Yes, it was a 4-year extension on top of the contract he already had.
Oh, okay. So
pretty much in his career there.
He'll be here through his age 36.
Okay.
2025, as long as he plays out the entire rest of his career.
Yep. And if the timeline was a little blurry because we were actively having a baby when all this stuff kind of happened. We go into labor and George Kittle signed his deal, 5 years, $75 million with a $15 million value, and then we have the baby. And Travis Kelce gets an extension kind of the same day. But I guess, Brian, what's your, read on this Travis Kelce extension?
Well, I mean, it's basically a no-brainer and a win-win for both sides. He's one of those core guys, I think, that you have to keep together with Mahomes. You have to keep together with Tyreek Hill because they all complement each other so well. With Hill being such a deep threat, the defense can't come up and clog up the middle where Kelce just does work when he gets one-on-one coverage. Yep. And that's where you feel good about it, even though he's no spring chicken. He's 31 years old going into this season. And so he's not a guy that necessarily relies completely on his athleticism and speed. He's such an elite route runner. You feel like even when he starts to lose a step, he's going to be able to get open, and that's what he does best and catch the ball and make plays. So I think, like I said, it's a no-brainer, and I just want to put these freaking arguments. It's not gonna happen, but can we stop arguing about who the best tight end in football is between Kittle and Kelce? They're different players. I mean, they're just different players, right. and they're both like super fun guys that like each other. Yeah. So can we just stop pitting them against each other and just enjoy the greatness that is George Kittle and Travis Kelce? I mean, I just love these guys so much. I'm happy that Kittle got locked up where he got locked up because he's a fun dude to watch, whether he's blocking or making plays through the air. Yep. So another thing that stuck out to me was he gets paid and he immediately invests into the community. And we see a lot of these guys doing this now, whether it's Mahomes or Tyrann Mathieu. These guys are investing back in the community. He immediately jumps in and with Operation Breakthrough, he's going to help them build this building called the Ignition Lab, where they're going to help teens – give them real-world experience, give them an exposure to STEM programs, give them entrepreneurial programs to kind of learn from. So, I mean, I just love the deal, and I love these guys just coming together and being a part of the community. It's kind of what this is all about, really, and it's why it makes these guys so easy to root for as Kansas City, fans.
That and winning Super Bowls.
Yeah,
kind of helps. It always helps getting some of the public approval. But you did mention him being kind of a core. He's kind of confirmed as a core member moving forward. If that was ever in jeopardy, we were kind of making the case that he 100% is and should be considered a core member moving forward. And the Chiefs did go out and prioritize him in that way. But kind of the one thing that jumps out about all this is it seems like every one of these guys who signed this extension, whether it's Mahomes or Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Kelce maybe not as much, but they all seem to have left a little money on the table. when it comes to like their free agent market value. It seems like everyone, and Tyreek sounds like he's going to do the same when they eventually lock him up, because he's talking like he's doing interviews saying Andy Reid's his boy. He would go to the mat for any of these dudes, and it seems like they're so gelled together. It seems like they're all on a mission to just run the table continuously. Dynasty keeps getting thrown around, and I mean, why not? I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, that core together is just going to be absolute nuts for however long it needs to be.
Yeah, and there's different strategies when you get a young franchise quarterback like that and you get him locked up for a long time. You can try to – you have him be the elite option on your team, and you try to get a bunch of good guys with him.
Yeah.
And the way the Chiefs are going is they got their elite option at quarterback. Then they're trying to lock up their 5 or 6 handful of blue chip guys that are among the best of their position. And then you're going to have to fill in the gaps with the veterans that are on cheap deals. You have to draft really well and fill in those gaps. So you don't have any major holes, because we know the NFL is good at something. It's finding a weakness on your team and exposing that over and over again. So it's just one of the way to do it. And I'm all in with signing your 5 or 6 best players and just figuring it out from there. Coach them up.
Yep. It's kind of a different horse of a different color type of thing, but it kind of feels like the Chiefs have that magic that the 14 and 15 Royals had. Kind of they all gelled together. They were literal. I mean, not literal, but there was a brotherhood, and it seems like that's being established here with the Chiefs. But it's way more realistic that they'll be able to stick together with the salary cap, and the NFL's payout structures will be a lot different. So it's kind of cool to see our team winning it and then have that brotherhood, but then potentially extending it more. So
the window's getting bigger, Josh. Yep. It's not getting smaller. The window is getting bigger.
It's a cool thing to see, and we'll kind of see how it all plays out. Tyrann Mathieu better be next, because I love the Honey Badger, but we'll see. They've done some cap magic so far. I'm not still very unsure how they're doing it, but I don't care at this point. I just learn to swallow it and go. Yep. That's right. So, yeah, we're all big, at least 2 of us here are very big fans of the extension, but we'll kind of see how that goes. Moving on to the NBA playoffs, which is going on actively in the first round right now. The bubble seems to have worked. No positive tests this last, 3 weeks, it seems like.
Yeah.
So now they've narrowed down. They've gotten the playoff action. We've had a couple sweeps already. A couple series are already toast. A couple teams are already up in smoke, but it's been very, very interesting so far. Rance, I know you've had quite a bit of viewing time of this NBA playoffs. What have you kind of taken away from the first round so far?
I mean, I just think the standout performances. I mean, you look at Luka and what he's done, Donovan Mitchell and what he's done, putting up tons of points. Luka with triple doubles. I mean, even Jamal Murray for the Nuggets has had some great games. I mean, It's been a blast for me to watch, because I'm a big NBA guy. I know it's not for everybody, but to me, there's nothing like NBA basketball when they start locking down and playing some defense. And it's the best athletes in the world, you know. The Nuggets Clippers series 2-2. It's been fun to watch. They're playing tonight at 8:00. The Blazers jumped out against the Lakers 1-0, but I mean, it looks like the Lakers now are just
humming.
I mean,
especially after last night, man.
Lord.
That was a shit kicking.
I knocked on them a little bit, and I understand, but right now you got to think they might be the favorites, and I don't want to say that because I'm a Celtics fan. I mean, but watching the East, I mean, it hasn't been a lot of fun to watch. I mean, Toronto sweeps, Boston sweeps. I mean, it just hasn't been. The West is where it's been fun to watch. That OKC Houston series is tied at 2. I keep thinking, God, the Thunder, they why don't they suck? They should suck. Chris Paul's my age. I mean, yeah. I mean, they don't have anybody that you just think. I mean, Gilgeous-Alexander's a good young player, but you just don't think of them as being. They shouldn't be tied 2-2. I know Russ is out, but still, I mean, it's.
Harden's one of the best players in the league. It seems like he should be taking over, and this shouldn't even be even close.
They shot 57 threes yesterday. Mind-boggling. I mean, and they just chuck it. They all chuck it. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's what the game's evolved into. But, I mean, the West is where it's at right now, and I've had a blast watching it. like we've talked about Luka Doncic. I mean that guy is wow. I mean, he's something special, and he'll be fun to watch for the next 10, 12, maybe even 15 years. So.
Yep.
Well, the world's got Luka fever for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Once he hit that game winner, it was just like Twitter was on fire. They could not praise Luka any more than they were. We were talking about the Boston series. Remember when Philadelphia had they were the team to beat in the East? I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm not a big NBA guy, but boy, they were the team to beat, it seemed.
And Ben Simmons was out, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I mean, they went ahead and canned Brett Brown. He's finished.
Yep, he toast.
I mean, they've had some players even last year when they had Jimmy Butler, they had Tobias Harris, they had Simmons and Embiid. Something that just doesn't click there.
Well, it's crazy also that how much money they're paying Tobias Harris.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting it was over $30 million. I think I saw him, and he's just not doing anything. Right, didn't do anything in the series. So that's kind of a tough one to swallow. That's also another reason probably Tobias Harris might want to look in the mirror for why his coach got fired.
He's got a golden mirror. He just read the reflection on his gold bars that he's looking at.
Yeah.
Kitty, what about you? I know you're a Jazz guy.
Yeah, I'm a Jazz fan, so I've been enjoying them so far. They just lost just now, but still up 3-2 on the series, so they got a good chance to move through and play the winner of that Clippers-Mavs series, which is, again, as Rance mentioned, just been a blast to watch that one as well. And just
which is a 2-7, right? A 2 seed and a 7 seed?
Yes.
Yes.
It was. I mean, that in and of itself it kind of speaks to how wild the Wild West.
And Denver is 3-6. Utah is a 6 seed, correct?
Yeah, Utah's the 6th. So I mean, it's the West is definitely the stronger conference, top to bottom in the playoffs. Whereas top teams are the top 2 from each are probably pretty even, and should be no matter who comes out, should be a pretty fun finals, and next couple rounds should be real exciting too.
Yeah,
really looking forward to that Raptors Celtics, just because I mean both teams are basically playing teams that didn't seem to be all that interested in playing any more games,
right.
And so it's nice to have now we're gonna have probably some 7-game series out east with Raptors Celtics, and then even Bucks Heat. Jimmy Butler, that guy.
How about that?
Take over a game too. So I mean,
that?
Bucks should be able to dispatch him, but bubble's a different thing. To some of these guys, maybe that's probably an issue too. Some of these guys maybe really wanted the fans or need the fans there to give them some energy and
maybe
pick them up when they're having a rough game. Maybe hit a big shot. It's not as you don't get that thrill when you hit a big shot right now with there's no one cheering you on except the teammates.
Stare at the screens.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, there's some fans looking at us. There they are.
I mean, I think the home court does. I mean, it can affect some of those teams that are expected to win. I mean,
especially in the playoffs,
makes it more of an even playing field. And
really, it should really help those top seeds, just because I mean, you feel just or where should be if you're after playing 75 games or whatever, 72, and they end up being around there. We're the higher seed. We're probably the better team. We should be able to win, and without the lesser team getting that boost from their home crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, suck it, all you naysayers who hate the 60-game MLB schedule. It's plenty. Brian, what's your impressions of this first round?
Well, the Western Conference has been a pond of piranhas, and the Eastern Conference is a lazy river at a sandals resort. The Eastern Conference is a joke. And I mean, it's even the 2 series, like we kind of talked about, we hoped it would be kind of exciting. The Indiana Pacers were a complete embarrassment. Didn't put up a fight at all. The 76ers, they're ready to blow up the whole team after just a year ago. They're talking about this is a blooming dynasty. And now they're like, blow it all up. We don't want to watch this anymore. I mean, Philadelphia is kind of that way anyway as a fan base. Are kind of crazy. They're either love you or hate you. But I've just been so let down by the East. And we talked about maybe having some potential second-round good series, but who knows? I mean, you guys mentioned the Heat. I kind of can be frisky. They're kind of a fun team to watch because they got some guys that could knock down shooters on the outside, and they just leave Bam Adebayo in the middle to just wreak havoc on the rim. Yep. I mean, I like watching them a lot because Jimmy Butler kind of plays in that mid-range game, and the 2 white guys just sit out there and chuck threes.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler is one of the last mid-range game players right now. You see out there, no one else takes hardly anyone takes a 15-foot shot anymore besides him.
Yep.
I'll give you a stat on that Heat and Bucks series. Little
Let's go.
drop in. The Heat are the second best 3-point shooting team in the NBA. They shoot the best percentage, second best. And the Bucks give up the most threes.
Oh,
They're really good defensively, but they're not good around the arc. So that might make, I mean, there you go. There's a little tidbit
little
for you.
crypto night.
Maybe
I might have
sprinkle
to
that money line.
Sprinkle some money line games right here on
Sprinkle the
this.
money line.
Well, speaking of
There you
betting,
go.
we wanted to get everybody's kind of, I guess, where they put their money on. We kind of pulled up the action sports odds that are currently with the remaining teams. So they're still like the Pacers are still in this. The Magic and Blazers not, some of those are not technically still around. so their odds are not great. But we wanted to get everybody's kind of pick of who they think and who they're going to put their money on. So let's start with Brian. Let's go reverse order. Brian, who you got your money on?
Well, the Bucks have the best odds at plus 287, but I think we all know it's not because they're necessarily the best team. They've got the easiest path to get through this lazy river to get to the championship, and then anything can happen in a series. But when I close my eyes, I just can't see them beating a Western Conference team in a 7-game series. So I can't bet on them. I think it's got to be the Lakers, right? The Lakers plus 324. They've got still the king of the king. He's still king, and he's got Anthony Davis. And as long as Anthony Davis doesn't get injured, which knock on wood can happen at any moment, I think they've got to be the favorites and the best bet. I will say, Rance's Celtics at plus 1,048.
Yep.
They're a very dangerous team. They've got multiple scoring options, and if they can figure things out and beat the Raptors and the Bucks, I mean, they could take a team to this all the way, I think. So I wouldn't hate sprinkling a little bit on the Celtics.
Yep. I mean, like you said, easy path for the most part to get there. Toronto's looking a little spry as well out there in the East too. So, Kitty, where are you at? Where's your money headed?
Yeah, I was kind of before this all started. I was leaning towards the Clippers before they've been made to look foolish for 4 games against the Mavericks. Because the Mavericks push them to the brink every night.
Yep.
So that was where my initial lean was. So kind of, and then I wasn't really that high on the Lakers either. Then game 1 happens, and I kind of felt. But then their last 3 games, we're actually really good, guys. So don't sleep on us quite yet.
Yep.
I would probably, if I was going to pick a team in the West, I'd probably jump off the Clippers ship right now and go with the Lakers. And then I was out east with that Raptors 800 and Celtics 1,000. Those are the two you got to. It's a coin flip. Pick one, whichever one you think is going to win that series. And I would, just for value's sake, take one of those 2 teams out east.
I like that play a lot. Rance, what do you got?
I mean, I'm kind of along the same lines with those guys. I mean, right now, the Clippers are struggling. Paul George has been awful. God, he's been bad.
Yep.
Playoff Paul?
He scored 9 points scored 9 points a couple days ago. I mean, for the Clippers to lose with Porzingis, I mean, that's a bad loss.
Yeah.
And they just haven't seemed to really gel, and the Lakers, like after that first game, I thought, well, they could be in trouble, but they've really turned it on. Dame's not playing game 5. I mean, it's over. So, I mean, right now, I mean, you have to hop on the Lakers right now on the West, I would think.
Yeah. Do you have an East team, Celtics?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Celtics fan. I've always been a Celtics fan, but Hayward's out. I mean, I don't think Boston can beat Toronto if they're healthy. I think Toronto's got something to prove, thinking, people thinking they could win without Kawhi.
Yep.
I mean, I've told you guys before, I am so impressed with Fred VanVleet. I mean, that guy, you don't think he was going to be you look at him and think, God, this guy can't be a good pro. I mean, he's 5'7". I mean, he's not big. He's kind of chunky built, but I mean, he can handle the ball. He can shoot. They got Siakam. I mean, they got Lowry. I mean, they've got some good pieces. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. I mean, I don't see why the Raptors couldn't be there in the end, or at least make a run, or give somebody a good series in the West. So
why not? I mean, good value. 820. Well, you said 824.
Yep,
that's what I have.
Yep,
that's pretty solid value. I'm not going to be original here. I got to go with the King. You're not going to get better odds than 324 at this point. I mean, after yesterday's game, it's still surprising that that's where the line, if that's where the line is. But I mean, coming into the playoffs, knowing that they were matched up against the Blazers, who looked awesome. The games leading into that, you thought that draw was probably the toughest draw in the West. And then they completely fell apart. Blazers did, while the Lakers rediscovered their mojo or whatever it was. So I got to go Lakers at 324 there. And if the Rockets kind of get out of that, I could maybe see, with Harden coming, like doing his thing, and if they ever get Westbrook back, maybe seeing those two kind of hit their stride and take the. I could totally see that happening also at 924. So that could be a value play as well.
Yep.
I think the takeaway here is we're all out on the Clippers, so bet everything you have on the Clippers. They're going to win it all.
If anything has been proven right, it's our gambling.
Like a Charles Barkley. I guarantee just real quick, I don't know if you guys watched last night when he guaranteed the Blazers to win again and they got pounded and he was just getting raked over the coals. God, it was hilarious.
You can fade the Charles Barkley and the Clearing Waivers podcast any day of the week. It's pretty 100%. And now that football's getting started up, that's our big gambling season. We go pretty hard in the gambling when football starts. So we'll get that started up here pretty quick. A couple weeks. Chiefs kick off in 2 weeks.
That's wild.
2 weeks from Thursday, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of, tickets are now hitting the market. I looked on SeatGeek, and oddly enough, the cheapest ticket that you can get right now is when the Patriots come to town. You have to buy them in these pods that are either 4, 5, or 6 tickets. And the cheapest I saw was $300 a ticket. No, $260. Sorry, $260 per ticket, and you have to buy 4 of them. Nice. So get your tickets now. It's gonna be weird out there, I guarantee you.
Yeah, it is.
Seeing some of those pictures of that 2000 spectated practice was interesting, but I digress. Let's move on to the Royals, who have completely digressed themselves. Since we last spoke, the Royals have been 4-7, scoring 3.3 runs a game and allowing 3.9 runs a game, which, I mean, it doesn't really tell you. I mean, it sounds about like a 4-7 record, but it just looks super depleted. I mean, it just looks pretty. And maybe it's just the fact that they have a decent bullpen and an offense that just can't score runs. Yeah. That they're in every game, so every game is a heartbreaker.
Yep.
Even last night they were down 6-0, and then they score 3 runs in an inning. You're like, all right, here we go, and then they get they kind of chip away, and then blow up again. So
9-3.
It's absolutely brutal to watch at this point. But I kind of wanted to get your guys' observations over the last 2 weeks since we kind of talked. So Brian, I'll start with, or Kitty, we haven't started with you yet. Kitty, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's
save your heat because I know it's coming. Save the heat.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait on point 2. But yeah, It's just like you said, it's frustrating because they basically have, especially how well they were hitting the ball for the first 20 games.
Yep.
I mean, they were top 3 in a lot of offensive categories in the AL. Those first 20 games. Like, all right, keep this continuing. We're gonna get Dozier's gonna come back. Keep it going. And then, like I said, all of a sudden we're scoring 3.7 runs a game.
Mm-hmm.
What just happened? It's the fun part of being a baseball fan, where every 10-game stretch can bring this biggest slump of an offense to the hottest team on offense. It's a ridiculous sport in that way.
Flying with the Eagles are completely grounded.
Yeah, and also just the young pitching too. I mean, we're relying on a lot of youngsters right now, so you're going to have ups and downs. Those guys are getting starts every 5th day, so it's as bad as it feels for the 60-game season when you kind of had some hope, and now you're just kind of like, that doesn't. I think we're on the slide out, so let's just finish 60 games and move on to next year. But a lot of young talent, and the pitching staff looks like they're actually. I mean, they've performed well for the most part, and so just kind of it's one of those. Like I think we thought before the year too was this is going to be an experience year, get some guys a taste of the major leagues, and hope it'll do them well for the future.
Yeah, and I mean the youth is going to be something that, I mean, this is what this year is for. We're supposed to be weeding out the people that are not going to be part of the future, giving them their reps and see what's real, what's not, what sticks to the wall, who needs to hit the road, and figure out what's next once the core pitchers and the prospects starts coming up, which Shit, it might be at the end of the year when we start seeing all the pitchers, all the outfielders. Bobby Witt Jr. could eventually be up here, maybe at the end of the year, maybe, and damn sure make a good case for next season. But I mean, that's just kind of, I mean, that's what this season is for. And if they do well, then they do well, and we'll take it. But if not, then we are. But yeah, like we were talking to Max Reaper a couple weeks ago, whereas just like one element is always locked in, and the other two are off not doing anything, and then that one will start flailing and another one will get locked in, and then the other two will start. I mean, it's just kind of a weird thing that the Royals do seemingly every year. But Rance, what do you think this last 2 weeks the Royals have been like?
I mean, kind of like Kitty was saying, I mean, you're relying on some young arms. I mean, Bubich and Singer both got ERAs over 5. I'm glad they're up here pitching. I mean, why not?
Cutting their teeth.
Yeah. I mean, there's just some growing pains. I mean, guys that you're relying on in the lineup are struggling. I mean, Salvy's in and out, injured. I mean, you're virtually getting nothing when you get Bubba or Phillips in the lineup. I mean,
Gordon.
Gordon's.
Tell us more about Gordon. How do you feel about Gordon?
He's not very good. I mean,
getting everyday reps.
You said weeks ago, Matheny was talking about cutting his playing time. Shit, I ain't seen that guy out of lineup at all.
I was thinking about that last night. I was like,
never out of the lineup.
That news came out, and he's been playing every day since.
They can talk about signing him a $4 million deal to be a leader or whatever, but if you're going to be a leader, you're going to have to be able to be somewhat decent, not bat 180. Yep. Nobody's listening to you if you're batting 180 and can't get on base. I mean, nobody's going to listen to that.
Yep.
I mean, Dozier's out for the first few weeks, which is killer, and he's been slow to kind of just get back at it a little bit. And then you're kind of platooning at first base. Nicky Lopez isn't hitting to go on top of Mondesi sure as hell ain't hitting. So then, I mean, you can talk about that lineup all you want, and the pitching's let him down at times. But God, I mean, I put most of the fault on the offense. I mean, they can just never seem to get that big hit when it's needed. Will they chip away and get some runs and get you back in the game? Solaire might hit a 3-run bomb or something like that to get you back in, but then they can just never seem when to come through when you got runners. I mean, they leave runners on all the time.
See, and here's the weird thing about that.
And they strike out a ton.
Okay.
The whole league's striking out a ton.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true too.
I looked at this. I thought it was interesting because I saw all the tweets saying the Royals with bases loaded is absolutely atrocious, and it is. It's very, very bad. With the bases loaded, they have a 226 OPS. 226.
I thought you were going to say average. And I was
me too.
No, not even that.
That is so bad.
With a 43.5% K rate. So they are striking out in those at-bats. I mean, you can't even advance runners. You can't hit sac flies. You're striking out in just about half the at-bats with bases loaded. Cannot happen. But here's the thing. With runners in scoring position, they have a 756 OPS.
That's good.
That's just right in the middle of the league. That is astounding to me.
We'll take that.
Considering how bad the bases loaded are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And usually when I hear a stat like that, Josh, it's usually if you take out this person, which I think it's O'Hearn. Sure. I think he's got the only one that's really done anything with bases loaded. They're like, if you take out O'Hearn, it's even more pathetic than that. So the fact that you didn't take him out and it's still just embarrassing is not good.
Whit Merrifield is carrying the curve. He is like 1,400 when the bases are loaded in 25 at bats. He is dialed in. He deserves
was over
more.
1,000 OPS. I think I saw the other day.
He is absolutely carrying his weight, and I mean, for everybody. And I'm part of. I did not think that Whit was going to be able to continue his weird career arc, but boy howdy, he is definitely doing it.
The Royals. I was just looking at team batting averages real quick. Like I think the Royals. They're right in the top half of team batting averages. I didn't realize that, my God, some teams that team overall averages are so incredibly bad. Like the Royals are hitting 249 as a team, and they're like 13th overall.
Yep. They're going to set another record for K rates.
Yeah, I mean, that's remarkable to me. Yeah. The Cincinnati Reds bat 202 as a team. They're dead last.
Wow.
I saw Eugenio Suarez.
Insanity.
Eugenio Suarez was like 140 something, and then naturally he hit a dinger that night against the Royals.
Yeah, he's gotten hot the last couple weeks for sure.
I was just gonna look up last year's.
I mean, that's crazy.
But I saw a tweet earlier today that they're on pace to break the K record again. If you do by rates, I think it was like the league-wide is like 23% K rate right now. 1 in 4 guys are striking out at.
The 249 average was still 16th last year. So, I mean, that seems to be pretty much par for the course. But the lowest was 236.
No one seems to care about average anymore either. It's all
no.
When you make contact, hit it hard, and if you strike out, who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, the Royals have struck out 246 times as a team, and I think they strike out constantly all the time, but that only ranks 13th in MLB.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how much. I mean, it don't matter. Just strike out. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Tigers Tigers have a 28.2% K rate right now.
Wild.
I think they strike out over 10 times a game. I saw.
The top 6 are Tigers at 1, Cubs, Braves, Athletics, Brewers, and White Sox. 5 of those 6 are playoff teams right now.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter. K rate, as much as everybody likes to point to it, I'd love to kind of point it as a throw in as far as my indicators go, but it may not matter. As long as you're able to score runs and hit dingers, who cares?
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly.
Who cares? Brian, what's your observation over the last 2 weeks of the Royals?
Well, I can't help but think that they've just kind of gotten really unlucky, and it's from the kind of the setup of the whole deal. Because we saw in summer camp, they had a completely different protocol with COVID than they do now. Whereas all through summer camp, you'd get these random positives, and they just pluck you up out of there, and then the train keeps rolling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you're seeing after the Marlins fiasco, and rightfully so. I'm all for changing the protocol as you go, and kind of shutting that team down, killing it. Nobody can have it anymore, and then get resuming again in 4 or 5 days. And once playing, and there's a lot of people focusing in on how unfair it is for those teams to have to play all these doubleheaders and reschedule and stuff. But the Royals had to play the first 2 weeks without their 2 best players, or 2 of the best players, Brad Keller and Dozier. And I mean, whereas the train kept rolling, we had to keep playing without our best players. And we're talking about once Keller, we started out 3-10 to start this year.
Yep.
And that's without your ace of your staff and without your number 3 or 4 hitter. And then here in the last couple of weeks, we lose Salvia to some freak fluid shit
how about
in his
that?
eye where he's blurry.
Mind-boggling. Never even heard of anything like that.
Tough to catch a baseball.
I mean,
you can't see straight.
He was hitting the ball really well.
Yes.
I love it when this lineup is all healthy and together, because it's really lengthened from the pathetic lineups we've seen in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have like your first 6 or 7 that are all, pretty legit threats at the plate, I mean, that's not nothing. And when you're talking about Keller, once he came back, we basically played 500 ball.
Yep.
And Keller, his first, it's well known now, first 17 innings doesn't give up a run. And Dozier, if you're looking at the box score every night they show up, he's only hitting a 256 batting average, but he leads this team in OPS.
Mm-hmm.
So he's drawing a lot of walks, and when he hits it, he hits the piss out of it, and he's making stuff happen. So, I mean, these guys aren't just nothing and nobodies. So it's just a different approach, whereas you see a team like the Cardinals that shut down for a week, but when they come back, everybody's playing again. They didn't miss any time with their best players having to sit out because they're positive. I mean, this is a total different approach, whereas we had to go 2 weeks without some of our best players. I just can't help but think it's a little bit unlucky on the timing of the thing. But, I mean, shit. We're all playing on the fly here and working with what we got to work with.
Right.
Changing the protocols as we go to live and learn from the mistakes and stuff. It just kind of sucked, I think, as far as the timing goes, how everything went down. Not to mention Junis was out, start the first couple weeks too. And you can already see when you see this team this past couple of weeks, they've had some bad strides, sure. But, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We were watching them trot out Lopez and Sparkman and Bolaños, and in the first 2 innings, they were getting killed. I mean, they didn't have a chance. And then you're trotting out a bunch of crappy relievers because you don't want to use your good ones. So the numbers just got worse and worse. And now when you see actual starters can go 5 or 6 innings and give you a quality start, And then we talked about, shortening that bullpen where we're firing out the best 5 or 6 guys every couple nights. And it looks like a totally different team, a team that's competitive. And like you said, they've had some rough luck here this past week where they kind of kick you in the nuts when they tease you. But it's been a night and day difference, I think, the first 2 weeks of the season, where I think you pointed out that they kind of looked like the comical early 2000 Royals moment at moments when they're just doing just stupid basic shit. And they've looked like a competent team the past couple of weeks, I feel like.
Yep. And I'm glad you brought up the bullpen because, I mean, there are at least 7 guys between Staumont, Barlow, Rosenthal, Zimmer, Newberry, Zuber, and Holland that are pitching really well lately, especially over this last 2 weeks. So if you're shortening the games and you have 7 solid guys that you're okay to go with in the bullpen, if you can get 5 innings from a starter with allowing 2-3 runs, you don't need much offense from that.
Yep.
I mean, I see the recipe there. The execution from that lineup is what's killing it.
Yep.
Because Staumont over the last 2 weeks, his K per 9. Anybody want to guess?
It's got to be approaching 20 by now.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking at least 16, 17.
18.
22.1 Ks per 9 over the last 2 weeks.
Not even a real number.
I mean, what? Amazing.
I mean, I don't think we've had
doesn't get called for down the middle.
I don't think we've had a pitcher that's been this fun to watch just pitch, since Ace Ventura, he had that stuff too that was just ridiculous to watch. But Staumont's got a different level of shit.
I think so too.
He's so much fun to watch, and when he comes on the screen, I tell you guys in our group chat, shut up, Staumont's pitching. I don't want to listen to you anymore.
It's also interesting that most of the time that happens, we're usually like in a heated debate.
Right.
Speaking of debates,
it's very interesting. But
there's a certain debate we've been having. Josh.
That seems like a great segue. I will throw out there regarding the rotation that I think Junis and Duffy were kind of unhealthy-ish the last few starts. Junis is starting, I believe, tomorrow.
Yep.
And Duffy's start has been pushed to at least Friday with a forearm strain, which is not great. But the good thing is if Duffy does go on the IL, I mean, you could see Jackson Kowar. You could see Daniel Lynch. Asa Lacey's in the alternate camp right now. So, I mean, you could start seeing these dudes that we've been wanting to see and get little flashes of it. And, shit, we could be rolling into 2021 real soon. So, I don't want to see anybody injured, especially Danny Duffy, because I love him. But it can be interesting kind of keep your eye on things moving forward with that. But, let's move into the segue, the heat, the kitty heat that is coming. And really – the Kansas City social media over the last week especially has been real hot on Alberto Mondesi. I guarantee you that all 4 of us have differing viewpoints of what, how to get him and how to handle him moving forward. Kitty, I'm looking at you in the face and you're real pissed off. You're going last. We're saving your fire to the very end. I'm going to go with I'm going to kind of sprinkle in. Brian, I'm going to have you go first with what do we do with Alberto Mondesi? Preface this, he's currently holding a 533 OPS, no home runs on the year, 2 RBIs. 2.
Count them, 2.
2 RBIs.
2 more than me.
He plays every day.
He has 6 stolen bases. He's been caught stealing 4 times.
Still
31.1% K rate on the year with a 1.9% walk rate. Brian, what do we do with this guy?
I mean, I expect this shit from Rance because he says a game's over in the first quarter all the time. I didn't expect these takes from Kitty that we're about to get. I just want to put that out there. A little bit ashamed. But there's no doubt he is completely lost at the plate right now. I mean, we saw earlier tonight he couldn't even lay down a bunt without popping out. He has no confidence at the plate right now. He looks completely lost. I just kept going back to – this is not just fans that have been gassing this guy up for years. It's been every manager you ever had, every guy that's ever played with him said this guy's going to be a star. This wasn't just us building up this hype. This was built from within, and you see every reason why. He's got every tool that you ever want from a shortstop. And I don't think you have any choice but to be patient with him. You've got to ride this out and hope that he regains his form because, I mean, hello, Royals fans. We've seen this recently. Mike Moustakas was terrible through the age of 24, sit back at the minors, and he came back and became an all-star. We saw this with Escobar.
Not this bad.
Alcides Escobar looked horrendous as earlier in his Royals career. And fans wanted to give up on him, and Ned just, as we've talked before, maybe out of spite, he trotted him out there every day and put him in
the one hole.
and I mean,
worst
truth be
leadoff
told,
hitter in baseball history.
But Alcides Escobar was bad for the most part, was he not?
He had good years.
I don't think the Royals win a World Series without Alcides Escobar.
Yeah, I mean, on his defense, I agree with that. But I mean,
I think he
hit
was
the
the
one hole-
ALCS MVP. What?
But to hit in the one hole is absurd.
It worked somehow. That doesn't make any sense at all. But it worked.
My point is, we've seen this before. Some guys with promise have struggled early, even into his mid-20s, and they figure it out from there. And I'm saying if you want to drop the expectations of everyone saying this guy can be Lindor, if you want to drop that and say that's not happening, okay. I still think this guy could be a very good player and a very much a part of this team, big time core going forward.
Okay, Rance, you've already given us some heat already. So why don't you go ahead and so here we're Brian. I figured he's going to have a pretty similar take to mine. Rance is probably going to be a little bit negative. I'm going to come back with a little stability, and Kitty is going to burn it all down. So Rance.
You
us
talked
your take.
about the stats, and I'm not saying just give up on him, but it's time to just set him down a little bit. I mean, you can't just keep trotting a guy out there like that. We've seen this for years with the Royals. A guy stinks it up. We're just going to get him out in the lineup. We're going to hit him up in the top half of the lineup. We'll just get him out there. You know, we're going to coddle him. We're just going to coddle the shit out of him, and, we'll baby him, little butt smack here. I mean, just sit him down, for God's sakes, for a little bit. When I watch that guy, I think he's just going through the motions. I don't know that he cares at all. I swear to God, I don't know that it bothers him one bit. If it bothered me to strike out all the time and not make contact, I sure as shit wouldn't swing at everything that comes up to the plate. And you would think eventually, as much as that guy swings, hell, I'm going to run into one and hit a bomb. No, I never will. No, I'm not going to hit a home run at all. Hell, I'm not even going to knock anybody in. I mean, I can't. I mean, he looks completely lost. And I know you can't give up on him, but I'm tired of the hype. I'm tired of these bedtime stories about how great he is, and he's not. He had a couple, 2, 3, 4 months of pretty good baseball, and other than that, the rest of his career, he hasn't been good at the plate. He has not been good. So I'll let Kitty finish it off here.
Well,
let him drop the hammer.
You're not wrong. I kind of agree that it's time to kind of throw away the hype and to prove what he is. I mean, at this point, the comp is gone. There's no bar to jump over. We knocked that off and it's like, just go jump. I don't just give us a new bar to figure out where you are going to be. It's not Lindor anymore. I don't know where it is. And you said sit him down. Your alternatives when you sit him down are to shift Nicky Lopez over to short.
I know there's not much
Witt
there.
into second base, and then
Or Brett Phillips,
shoot Brett Phillips or Bubba Starling into center field. So
But
I don't
you think
know.
You can just set him down a few games, just a few games.
I mean, maybe he needs a little time to get his head straight, but he just had an off day yesterday. And with a shortened season, you can't afford to. He needs reps. He needs to shoot his way out of this. Shooters' slumps are only come out of by shooting. It's what it is. And you talk about like he just seems stone-faced, like he doesn't care. I guarantee you, I think it's the exact opposite. I think he is just stuck in a rut mentally, and he's trying too hard to press and get and do everything too hard. I think that's what it is. I think he is. Yeah, he kind of looks stone-faced when he fucks up. I mean, that's a professional athlete. I think at this point. It's not like, I mean, he was around professional baseball his entire life. His dad was a professional ball player. I think he's got the mental fortitude that he needs to succeed. He just needs to shoot his way out of it, in my opinion. He doesn't have any options, so you can't send him down, obviously.
Yeah.
But and Kitty, I know your angle here. I want you to
He's not even gonna let you talk, Kitty.
Kitty, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it to you by saying you got to keep shipping him out there. I'm with Brian. You got to let a shooter shoot himself out of the way of a slump. Kitty. Oh wait, no. I had another start. He's not even playing defense very well right now. He's at a negative
Right.
7.6 UZR per 150. That's not good. That's not
He's
good at
pretty
all.
much been in a slump most of his career.
Well, he's at least been able to provide elite defense and elite speed, and that is not the case this year. It doesn't seem.
Right.
Sink Pistons, listen to me. Go ahead. We are going to start selling flame retardant jumpsuits for you to wear as you listen to this podcast, and here is going to be a very good opportunity to buy those when they are going to be inevitably on sale. Kitty, what do you think the Royals should do with Adalberto Mondesi?
I mean, if he can play defense and run, you can keep him out there because he won't be a zero. He'll provide value at those two spots. But if he's not doing either one well, he's got the most caught steals in the league. He can't play defense like you just mentioned. What's the point of having a guy on the team? I mean, he's below replacement level at this point this season. I mean,
Because your alternative is Nicky Lopez, Brett Phillips, and Eric Mejia.
There's no one to put out there. I
Matt
get you
Reynolds.
there. But I mean, good Lord, this guy has no idea what he's doing at the plate. I mean, he's basically Pedro Serrano with a fucking slider. He needs some hats for his bats. He can't wait to swing over top of a slider low and inside.
Who was it? Was it Clippard last night that gave him 3 in a row? No, it was Romo in the Twins series. It was Romo gave him 3 in a row.
Yes,
and he had no clue.
I did some good research today on Mondesi.
All right.
And
I like Kitty research.
Whew, it was some.
Can't wait for this.
I
love research
went
too.
I got my first look was, let's see if he's as bad as Chris Getz. That's how bad I thought he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that bad to play yet, which is surprising. That's also shows how
surprising.
Freaking terrible Chris Getz was for so many years in the Royals. That guy still pisses me off that he played so many damn games. But so his career, if you get rid of the first 2 years, which that's rookie year is 2021. It's OPS plus a 90, so not terrible. It's all mostly based on that first year, a good one. But man, I mean, let's see, the hard hit percentage of balls, 32.4%, 127th of people qualified. Yep. Tatis Jr., just for a small comp, who's leading the industry.
Don't do this, man.
63.9. Hard hit percentage, which is that's an insane. I mean, that's a freak.
That is not providing context. That is absolutely.
Well, that's what a good shortstop does.
Yeah, the best in the league,
like a superstar shortstop.
Yeah, that's who Mondesi was supposed to be. This is who we were supposed to get.
He's supposed to be a superstar.
This is the bill of goods we were sold. We were sold to Tatis Jr. and we got Chris Getz 2.0. Not fun. He's the 5th worst on swings and misses this year, which doesn't surprise anybody.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Swings on pitches outside of the zone all the time. I mean, and you look at the numbers on those percentages of swings outside the zone, swings and misses. They haven't changed in 3 years.
Yeah.
He's exactly the same player he was. He just got lucky and ran into a few more fastballs and hit some home runs that first year. So
There's certainly something to that for sure.
It's a lot for me to have any hope of him turning things around at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't see it at this point, just looking at numbers. I mean, sure, I guess the silver lining is he's 24. So you've got time to turn it around. But, I mean, nothing has changed in 3 years.
Yeah.
So
he needs to go.
What do you boys think about that? What do you two think about that little hot take there?
So, Kitty, in the chat, I thought that this was going to be way hotter because in the chat you were ready to let him roll.
I may have had a few more beers than me during the chat.
You got to sleep on that take a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was all on board, man. I would jump completely on board. I like what you're saying.
Okay, so if you get rid of him,
but he
goes to another team and blows up and lives up to that potential.
I'm just
Dave
curious.
Moore is ran out of town at that point.
I'm curious about what his trade value would be. How many teams still would believe in Mondesi and how much of a package you can get back from him?
You want discipline.
He needs to go figure out how Javi Baez learned plate discipline, or at least got better at it, because it was the same thing.
He was supposed
to be a shortstop who had great defense. He had real struggles against off speed and sliders, and he figured it out enough to be an MVP.
Mhm.
And he still swings and misses a lot. He's up there in the
Absolutely.
top 5, I think, in swing and misses.
Yeah,
but
he
he also
definitely
connects on a lot of those.
Yep.
Sends him a long ways.
Yep.
right. Yeah, he's getting more where he's swinging hard as hell every time, but he
Yep.
connects way more than what.
It's okay to
Mondesi's
swing and
been
miss
doing.
if you can hit some bombs.
Yep.
But
Yep.
he's not hitting
Mhm.
any bombs.
Yep. So I think we're all in agreement. They just need to keep trotting him out there, right?
Sounded like it. Glad we
Sound
can all
like
agree.
Yep.
Let's
Glad we can
see.
all
Oh.
figure it out.
Actually, let's see. It was this year. Salvi Perez swings at more pitches outside of the zone than
That
Mondesi
sounds.
does.
I mean, he's another one of those.
Which is
that-
not. But yeah, slider low and away can get
Yeah,
Salvi quite a bit.
toast.
Soler was just had a 2-week span there where he couldn't see a slider to save his life.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
Baez
He
up
too
there.
crushes the ball on
as well.
occasion.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
Baez is up
both
there,
hit 30
37 and a
home
half.
runs.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just I think it's one of those things where he's certainly got the MO of an undisciplined hitter. He's got, I mean, plenty of reps to know that the scouting report's out on him. Pitchers know exactly what they need to do. So at this point, he either needs to figure it out or he's out. I mean, this is like we said earlier, this is a season kind of figure out where everything is, who's part of the future, and what we need to do moving forward. He's got this shortened season. He's got the off season to kind of make any kind of, adjustments or whatever. And Bobby Witt Jr. is right out there. He can play a competent shortstop. He can hit. I mean, he's shown in summer camp that he can hit big leaguers. The reports out of alternate site camp is that he is absolutely crushing the ball and having great at bats. So there's absolutely every reason for him to be knocking on the door, and Mondesi needs to take notice of that. So he
Josh, I
needs
want
to
you to
figure it out.
set an appointment reminder on your computer that pops up a year from now, because there's going to be crow on the menu for these two little suckers when Mondesi has a great offseason down in Miami training with the hitting coach, and
Yeah.
he's just killing it next year.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're.
Well, set a line
idea of-
then, Brian. Set a line. What's he going to do next year then,
What's his
big boy?
OPS next year? Let's
OPS
get an
next
OPS
year.
bet on this guy. Next
Get
year.
on
It's
the
going to be a
board.
career high.
Be hard not to be.
Let me go ahead and look that up real quick.
I mean, let's not forget that he couldn't do anything all summer or all offseason because he had his arm got surgery.
Right. He was rehabbing the whole offseason, which is not nothing.
Excuses.
Maybe he's still hurt. That's what we're gonna go with.
No, he just didn't
that's
have
not what he's
time
saying.
to fix his shit.
Right.
804 with his OPS in 2018.
Oh, we're going over, baby.
I'll take it under. That's probably a negative 180 under.
It's so crazy that his lowest walk percentage of his career is 3.8, and he's currently at half of that right now at 1.9. That is astounding.
Yeah,
That's
he's-
what I'm kind of saying, that he's pushing too hard. He's not seeing pitches. He's not trying. I mean, he's trying to hit the ball solidly every time. It's just in his own
Well,
head. I think.
Maybe it's also, I think Brian mentioned, maybe it's a LASIK issue, and he's kind of got blurry vision. He doesn't even realize he's not seeing clearly, and so
Give him some
I
James
like
gotta wait
Winston.
got to wait till age 25 to get that LASIK. Let's do it.
Yeah. That LASIK's helped Bubba out.
Clearly. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the shenanigans. We've spit enough fire for the night. We've got plenty on the menu there. So let's move on to the what are we doing tonight? The Waiver Watch waiting game. That's what we're going to start off with. Everybody's favorite here.
Hell yeah.
I love this game.
Waiver Watch waiting game. Waiver Watch waiting game. Waiver Watch waiting game. Waiver Watch waiting game.
That's still a very good drop. I'm still very much
Yes,
in on
I
that.
love- Yeah.
All right. Waiver Watch waiting game. We're doing it again this week. We're going to start with Kitty. We've all prepared a TV show or a movie that we've got a Rotten Tomato critic score on. We're all going to guess these each other's games, and then we're going to go from there. So, Kitty, you're going to start us off here. What do you got?
I didn't write. Okay, I didn't write down the year, but I think you guys all probably may remember this one. So we're gonna go into the Street Fighter universe. And
What
we're
is a
going
Street
with
Fighter?
Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li.
What? That was
This
the
was the
second
movie.
one.
Second or
That's the
third, I'm
one-
not sure where they were at. With Kristen Kroik
Second
as
or
Chun-Li,
third?
Neil McDonough as Bison, Chris Klein as the unhinged police officer chasing down Bison. Just a performance for the ages right
Oh
there by Chris
my.
Klein.
I've
I
never
only
seen a
remember the
single
with
one.
Van Damme.
Yep.
Yeah, Van Damme was mid-90s, and this one came out in 2009 or 10, or it was a
Holy
long time after.
shit.
Holy shit.
This has
But I mean-
to be piss poor.
I've seen it multiple times. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh my.
Well, that's not surprising.
Chris Klein, I mean,
Chris
You really-
Klein from American Pie.
yeah, there's a super cut of his basically sizzle reel from this movie, and it is worth checking out.
I need that like I need air.
Yeah, you certainly do.
Oh my god.
I'm in.
Everyone
Critic
down?
Score.
All right, we're guessing the critic score. Who's
I
everyone
feel like
down?
you went and
Yep.
found like
Yes.
the worst possible score.
All right, Josh, what are you going with? I'll start with Josh.
I feel like, yeah, like I said, I think you went and tried to find the worst. Nobody's thinking of Street Fighter: Legend of Chun-Li when they're trying to find an interesting movie to pull. So you went and found a terrible score. I'm going a 12 critic
All
score.
right. BK, got your name next.
I don't have it that bad. I got a 33.
All right. Rance, what are you thinking?
I put 23.
All right.
I like that number.
So, I wasn't actively looking for the worst score I could find, but
You just-
boy howdy, I found it.
Oh no. Oh no.
The audience was more than triple the critic score, and the audience gave it an 18%. The critics
Oh
gave
my
Street
God.
Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li a 5%.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
5.
I should have got closer than that.
Yeah,
And I think they're being a little harsh.
Kristen Crook, that's Lana Lane from Smallville, correct?
Although that is correct.
Maxim Hall of Fame in my book. Real coming of age Maxim guy there.
There you go. That's right. Everyone that grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
All
that's
right. So Josh,
well,
you're
hell
in
of a
first
way to
place.
start it off.
Hell of an
Unbelievable.
early one.
I'm gonna roll out. Kitty, you threw out basketball last week,
Yes.
so basketball is what I'm bringing to the table this week.
Oh,
Give me
I
the
didn't look
critic
it up.
score of
That's really
basketball. I wondered.
Bad
if that
move
was
by
the
me.
case. I wondered if you had mentioned it, and I mean, 2 weeks. You probably forgotten it, even if you did look it up.
That's true. That's a very possibility. I'm in.
While you guys
I'm
are
in.
writing down your scores, I just got an update saying that Nick Foles is inches ahead of Mitch Trubisky in Bears camp. So
So he threw a ball accurately.
this sounds great for any Bears fans. Shout out to Barth, because that's not necessarily the update you want to get.
They don't want Mitch Trubisky to win that job. I mean, just trot out a warm body.
Yep, you do not want him to be just mere inches of the guy that you know that can't do it. Let's see who is next to me is Rance. Rance, what's your guess on basketball?
I went with just a nice, even 20%.
20%.
Goodness.
Okay,
Is that way too high?
I don't know.
we'll see.
I have no
We'll
idea.
see. You never know. Brian.
I think maybe this was old enough where the critics still kind of had a sense of humor, and it was kind of their kind of humor. But I'm still saying, I mean, it's rotten. It's got to be rotten. 43.
Well, I was right next to that, BK. I went with 44. I'm thinking, yeah, they're a little too crude for him at points. So I think they're going to ding it a little bit there.
Makes a lot of sense. Critic score was the audience score was a 74.
Hell yeah, it was.
So
That might be a little low even.
makes a lot of sense. The audience score or the critic score was a 43%.
Yeah,
Brian, right on.
I
the money.
needed that so bad.
Oh my goodness, I was so close.
Yep, Kitty, that's a tough showing. You got one, and you still
One
not
off.
the closest.
That's brutal.
You spun a 99-cent on the wheel on The Price is Right, and Brian hit that dollar on the first round.
It's
Well
rough.
done. Great job,
God,
Brian.
I needed that badly.
Nicely done.
Brian, you're gonna go next.
All righty. So I did this movie in honor of Josh having the new baby in the house. Going back to 1987, boys. Little movie
Lord.
called 3 Men and a Baby.
Oh, well, that's a hell of a movie.
Tom Selleck,
was-
Ted Danson,
Gutenberg.
I was just thinking about this movie this week for some reason. I couldn't remember. I think someone had.
Did you just have a baby?
Great
Not me.
soundtrack too, I believe.
No, someone mentioned Ted Danson. I was like, oh yeah, then Gutenberg. Who was the third man?
Yep.
It was just racking my brain. What
a trio! What
Oh,
a
yeah.
trio that is.
Right in their heyday, too.
I'm in.
man,
I mean, it
Gutenberg
was-
was hot.
Such a hit, they had a follow-up to it.
Gutenberg was a police academy guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
in. That was on this week too. I was watching on IFC channel.
I thought this movie was good, but
How many did he get? How many police academies? He's like 4, wasn't he?
7 or
There
8.
are. I don't
many
know
was
how many.
Gutenberg
He may
in?
have been all of them. He may have been quite. I think he still got to at least 5 because wasn't that Miami Beach? I think he was on 5.
Well, now he's in Ballers.
I'm sorry. Police Academy Assignment Miami Beach. I'll be full
Okay.
title corrector.
You got a lot of the Sink Pisters are some title Nazis, that's for sure.
Right. All right. I'm in.
All right, let's go to Kitty first.
I mean, classic. I went 78%.
Let's go to Josh.
I was right there with you. 77.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I put 75%. I thought that
Oh,
movie was
my
very
God.
good. I really like it.
Look at that consensus among us.
Okay.
It's gonna be 76.
That would be amazing.
This is the one I was kind of shocked to see the critics were way higher than the audience. I mean, I thought both would be on board. This is a classic movie. I mean, I don't know what you wouldn't like about this movie, but the audience only comes in at 47%.
Well, they're morons.
Wow.
But you guys are right there on the critics. And one of you was right on with the critics.
Ooh.
Oh, look at this. Got a double.
It's a 75%. Rance gets the bonus.
Oh, look at that.
What a week we're having.
I mean,
It's
I just
a
want
double.
to I want to
A
applaud the
double.
critics. I feel like if you make this movie in 2020, it probably gets like a 35 in the critics because it's just not like thought provoking enough or some shit.
Yep. We've got a ball game here. Let me tell you.
Goodness gracious.
Kitty's got 4 points right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he needs to do really bad here.
this is going. I almost guarantee I will. Somehow.
Rance.
Bring us
I got
some
it.
gold.
Gotcha. Right here. Movie. Comedy. Come out in 2000. Okay. One of my favorite comedies. Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God.
Jim Carrey. Zellweger Carey plays a Mountie. His alternate personality is Charlie Ballygates. Fantastic movie. Old Charlie, a lot of great one-liners. Tell me what we got here.
I'm
on
in.
the critics.
Oh, man.
Not in yet. Hold on. I'm gonna.
Got to rattle that brain.
I remember the old we got this on pay-per-view we watched it with Mom and Dad. Back
Mm-hmm.
when you had to like call in the pay-per-view to Dish Network.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, I'm in.
I'm having trouble with this. Time out.
Actually, I'm gonna go. Now I'm in. Re-in.
All right, I'm in.
Okay. Who's that?
Kitty.
Kitty, what do you got?
All right. So it's a little crude for critics, I think, again, but I think it's got the Jim Carrey bump here from critics. They're going to give him a little more leeway than give somebody else. So I went 62%.
Okay.
I'm not far off of that. I don't think it's fresh. I think it's just on the cusp. I went 56%.
Okay.
Brian.
I think this was right around the time that the humor started to drop for critics, but I still think this was in the wheelhouse. It was funny for all, I think. I'm going to say just fresh at 66.
Okay. So, audience score, I mean, just to throw it out there, over 400,000 ratings on the audience
Nice.
score.
Good Lord.
That'll
And
do.
they only scored it at 57%.
Wow.
Very
Idiots.
surprised
I
by
got
that.
real close to that.
Stupid.
Josh almost got the audience.
Now, the critics coming in at right at 99 reviews by critics.
Only 99.
Yep, which was a little bit surprising to me, but the critics did not care for a masterful performance from
Oh, no.
Terry. Not looking great.
Oh my God, a human Q-tip.
Milky. 47%.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, damn it. I
For
shouldn't
me,
have given
myself, and Irene.
I shouldn't have given the bump.
God, Josh just pulls it out.
Got me by 1.
Wow.
What an
Oh,
asshole.
no.
What a showing.
What a battle. In
What
a
Rockford.
showing,
Man,
baby.
I love that game.
If I had kept my original score, I would have got under 10 points. Oh, I gave Jim Carrey 10 bonus points. That was a
Yeah.
big mistake.
I mean, this was Carey's. I mean, he was in his heyday in the
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
2000s. You know,
Speaking
I don't
of
blame
Carey,
you.
did you guys watch? It was a movie called The Majestic. It was like one of his first like dramatic roles.
I did not see that one.
It was
I
not bad. It was the first time you're like, oh, Jim Carrey's got some chops.
Sure he
I
does.
remember that one movie he did where it was about like a murder or a serial killer.
The number 23.
23 or 21.
Yeah, that's
or
when he went way off the deep end. I think he went
Yeah.
he went method real hard.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
he's
he did.
now he's super into it.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, I beat Kitty I had 18 points. Kitty had 19 points. Rance had a pretty solid week with 36. Brian 42. I mean, the two guys that hit
42
him on the head, it came up bringing in the rear. So pretty solid week.
42 is not a bad score usually either. So
For last place, yeah.
What a week. On fire right now.
Street Fighter.
Yep.
What a pull.
The legend of Chun-Li.
yeah, it's don't worry about that.
God, unbelievable.
We
Only
covered
on
the
the-
bases on it this week.
Only on the Clearing Waivers podcast could you bring up Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li.
I
3 men and a baby.
love the category tough and interesting. We got to do that again. That was great.
Uh-huh.
All facets you can come up with from that.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I do like it. All right. Let's get into the waiver wire for the week. And you know what that means.
Girl.
Well, that first pick belongs to an underdog. The man who may have never won a poll on this since we started taking votes. Kitty with the win this week.
All right. Bad News Bears. Thank you very much, Walter.
I'm
Oh,
not
the baseball movies?
Yeah, I'm not real sure what won you won it. I mean, I think there's a lot of people probably your age that are in our demographic that like.
I don't think he had a miss. I think that was his biggest thing.
I mean, basketball was a
What were his
miss.
movies?
No.
Baseball was not a
that's
miss.
Dog
It's a great
shit.
choice.
Bad News Bears, League of Their Own, which is probably the water carrier of that group.
Natural.
The natural and basketball. But I mean, Rance.
Basketball's
you
not
got
a miss.
you
I
got
had a Sandlot and Field of Dreams. Like that should have
Trash,
won it
trash.
just by itself.
Yep.
People aren't big. People, it's a new culture, Rance. People aren't good on or happy with small like sexually assaulting a lifeguard.
Stay woke here.
Stay woke here, Rance.
Yeah,
Kitty's
that's true.
gonna be
He should have
number
been in
one.
jail.
Kitty. Little squints.
Squints
Kitty's
is
number one. Rance came in with number 2. I think that was kind of an upset.
Live with that.
Brian,
Oh,
you're a third
shocked.
pick. And I did get a vote. It was my own vote. So I'm going to go ahead and be last. I mean,
Yes.
I got to be my own fan, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, that's right.
I stand by my list. Apparently, the Sink Pissers don't like boobs. I don't know what to say. This week's
What
waiver
was
wire
that
draft.
boobs movie again?
Soul of the
What was
Game.
boobs?
It's
Soul
a great
of the
movie.
Game.
It's a great
No
movie.
one watched that except us.
No one's ever seen it.
Apparently
but you
not.
two,
I should have known, because when I went to look up like reference, like doing research, best baseball movies, it was never on the list.
Oh,
Not
no.
ever.
Nope.
Whatever. Shut up.
I mean, the one glaring error I think we did make that was pointed out to us by one of the sink pissers.
Nope.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking Naked Gun.
Okay. Well, Naked Gun. That's kind of the same logic I shared on Forrest Gump being a football movie.
That's true. It's
If
not
we're
stupid.
being honest here.
Right.
The waiver wire this week, Brian came up with. You had a catfish fry a couple weeks ago that kind of inspired you to for us to draft our favorite fried foods.
Right.
So I'm very, very excited to kind of do this. So we're going with Kitty was the number one pick, maybe ever, officially won and deserved.
I think I got a first pick not on a poll, but yeah, just on a coin toss one time, and I think I ruined it last time. So we'll see what happens this
First
time.
one you've earned.
So
That's
number
right.
one pick. What do you got?
I think this is number one with a bullet, and I don't think it has much of a competitor. I'm going fried chicken.
Okay.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it's
That's
just
correct.
any form of chicken put in a fryer is going to
Well,
be good.
let's not
Chicken
give you
strips.
all the fried chicken. There are other forms of fried chicken that,
that
that some of us can also have. You don't get full reign of fried chicken just because you said the words fried chicken.
In the traditional sense of the word,
Yeah.
when you think of fried chicken,
Fried
that's
chicken,
what you think.
I guess. Right, with the bone-in fried chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Can we?
Gotta have the bone in. Gotta feel like a real Neanderthal back in the day of cooking something on eating off that bone.
Which gives me, I do want to know, what is the most overrated? Like, the chicken breast is the most overrated piece of fried chicken, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Not
It's
even
just
close.
It's just so big, and we're like, oh, it's fried chicken breast. It's good, but
It's not as juicy as
No.
the legs and the
No.
thighs. Not even comparable.
The only
Right.
redeeming factor is they usually have like more of the crispy, crunchy breading. Like
But
that
they also
doesn't
have
include
more
meat.
of the dried white meat in it, too.
Yeah.
you get that nicks and crannies for the breading.
Yep. But you get that huge piece thinking, I mean, if you're just a unknowing fried chicken observer, you
Right.
come upon a chicken breast, you think you've hit the mother load, and you have not.
Nope.
Because like you
I
said,
know.
because it's mostly that crispy middle stuff that's
Yeah.
kind of what helps it out a little bit. But I want
Sure.
that chicken skin.
That leg
that
is
chicken
king.
skin.
Leg is king. The old drummy.
Yeah, I'm a drummy.
Yep. Great pick. 101 makes sense. Rants.
I mean, I got to go with. We just had to get together this past weekend for my birthday, for my brother's birthday, and we had a good old fish fry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
I got to go with fish, catfish, crappie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't get better than that. Get that oil going on the fryer, and once it comes out fresh and hot, delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Fried fish for me.
Those are
I
my
think
top two
catfish is
picks
the-
on my draft board.
Yeah.
Catfish is a good one.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, my God. I forgot how much I love it.
And you can just eat it and eat it. Like, I mean,
Oh,
it's just like you don't even need to eat any sides. Like, you could just
Uh-uh.
get stuffed off fish.
And as it gets cold during the day and it's still out there on the counter, it still tastes good just to pop it in your mouth.
Bingo! I've ate it just right out of the fridge, out of the baggie. It's not bad at
yeah.
all. Little
You can't
tartar
eat it
sauce.
back up.
I mean,
agree.
they could be real trouble, but because when you spend all afternoon and evening around that table full of catfish, I mean, as soon as you get this much room in your stomach, you're popping another piece of catfish.
Constant grazing.
I mean, you're just constantly grazing.
Yep.
Number
Absolutely.
3, I'm coming up here, and you got my meats that are my 1 and 2. So I got to take my number 1 fried appetizer. You can find it here in Waldo, Missouri,
I wondered.
and it's the Turbo Tots, baby. Turbo Tots at Lou's are heavenly, especially if you've been drinking beers all afternoon watching college football. You go in there and you get some piping hot Turbo Tots. They're jumbo tater tots that have onions and peppers and cheese built inside of them. You get these piping hot suckers, dip it in a little ranch, Chipotle ranch at that. They pop it in the mouth. Your mouth sets ablaze because you didn't wait long enough for it to cool down, but there's
That's
no
true,
going
too.
back. You just do the you just sucking down there, trying to salvage all the skin on your tongue that you can, but there's no going back at that point. You just keep going, baby.
It's really paramount to be a little drunk there, so you don't hurt as bad that night.
Oh yeah.
What a visual that is. At
It's that
2:30 in the morning on a Saturday.
It's that next morning when you wake up and your roof of your mouth's burnt to shit.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
You don't taste things for the next 4 weeks.
Oh yeah.
The piping hot temperature really breaks down the defenses of your tongue to make room for that Chipotle ranch to just burn down your throat for the rest of the week.
Oh, God, that's great. They're good, too. They are good.
I mean, when you go in there with a group, don't be the idiot that just gets one order. If there's more than 4 of you, get 2 of them bitches.
Yep.
Because
Definitely.
you're
At
just going to want to
least.
keep popping.
Plus, I mean, that's the one thing that everybody's going to be like, oh, I'm going to get a little piece of that, because they're not going to feel greedy by taking 1 or 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're going to take 3 or more whenever you're not looking. But
And
I mean,
then
you get 1 for the table and then 1 for yourself, obviously.
And then you start thinking bad thoughts about your friends that you came to the bar with, and
Yep.
it's just not how you're supposed to end the night with friends.
If booze doesn't tell you the night's over, then thinking bad thoughts about your friends stealing turbo tots will definitely do it.
Did that asshole take 4 of them?
Was that the last one again? Took the last one again?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm going to go with my first and second pick. I'm going to go with a good chicken fried steak. You go to like Lambert's or some kind of classic home style restaurant, there ain't nothing better than a little chicken fried steak with some of that white pepper gravy on top.
Mm.
Woo-wee. Woo-wee.
Not a fan.
Of course you're not. I mean, that's good, wholesome blue-collar food
It's
right
for
there, buddy.
pores. It's for pores.
It's a pretty rough it's a rough cut of steak.
Got to tenderize it, got to pound it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you
I
do.
wonder why you got to do that with that steak. That's a little primo cut there. You've got guys. You guys are
Okay.
dumping fryer.
You only eat filet mignons, don't
Yes,
you?
they do. Bacon
That's
wrap
very- yeah.
fillets.
I'll go look. Let's go look on my fridge right now. I'll show you.
Gordon Ramsay's stirring steak up in his kitchen right meow. My second pick, Rance. We're talking about blue collar fried foods here, but Rance, you and I have had a conversation about this. But the Captain D's fish fillets with those cracklins, little in a
God
basket.
damn you, cracklins! I got that down.
You don't get the cracklins unless you get fish. But boy,
Gotta
I
get the
mean,
cracklin.
those are
it's
good.
probably
Those are really good.
my list is just chock full of sodium-inducing coma.
Sometimes
food.
you ask for extra crackling. Just throw me some of
Absolutely you
that
do.
sprinkle some of
Yeah.
that crackling in
Yeah.
there.
That's the new. Instead of sprinkling a lime, we give a little crackling. We give a little crackling on that money line. Captain D's fish fillets with those cracklins for the win.
Now, what if you took cracklins and then you mixed in that just smoked fat that you love to eat so
Oh
much?
my God.
Oh, God.
I mean,
Give a little texture to that fat.
was that your last meal?
Goodness, that might be it.
I
pork
mean,
fat crusted crackling?
What a phrase.
Josh, cut this out. We're starting a restaurant where we're just serving
Uh-huh.
this shit.
yep. It's
We don't
gonna
wanna
be
give
super
away our
cheap because
menu.
it's just Captain D's breading in fried oil and then all the trimmings from
All the leftovers.
Yeah. The
We'll
overhead's
charge
going to be nothing.
$15 a plate.
We go out to Westport and we just get a food truck and we just sit back and make money.
I love it. I love it.
Brian, you're up again.
All right. So I need a little meat, and we're going back to the sea, and I'm going fried shrimp. And
Mhm.
specifically, if you can find a place that makes the good coconut shrimp,
Yeah.
I could eat that shit all day. I mean,
Mhm.
every time I finish a good plate of coconut shrimp, I have the temptation to order another plate of coconut shrimp. 'Cause
That's
That's one
the
of my
thing, though.
favorite things.
Fried shrimp never comes enough. There's never
know.
enough fried shrimp.
Yeah, you get like 4 or 5. And come on.
And
Still
you get it
small
with
plate.
a good spicy cocktail sauce, too.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
another really underutilized thing in this world is cocktail sauce.
Yep.
And not enough people have coconut shrimp. I need those two to come together in our new restaurant, and we're going to have some kick-ass cocktail shrimp.
Boy, howdy.
Sounds pretty good.
Get us on Shark Tank right now. Ain't nobody
$1
got
million
ideas like
for
us.
20% of our company.
Uh-huh. Yep. Podcast funding also needs to happen in that deal too. Back to rants.
I got to go with, I went with the fish, and then on top of that, on the side, is you take your potatoes and you cut some home cut fries.
Yeah.
You got that old machine where you just pound it down, and then it kind of gets jammed in there when you get a big potato and you kind of got to wedge it out.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I'm talking those home cut fries you just toss in the fryer right after you're cooking the fish. And
Yep.
I mean, that's a
Yeah.
culinaries galore right there. Fried fish and some home cut fries.
Every 4th of
That's
July,
solid stuff. Yeah,
my
that's good.
in-laws do a fish fry, and they also do like the potatoes that way, but they throw some onions in there.
Oh,
That's the way to go too.
yeah. I
That's
like
a
it.
real cheap hack to throw in some onions into your fryer when you cook those potatoes too. Dig it. Kitty, back to your second and third pick.
I'm going the old.
Did you just add
Restaurant.
something to your board there?
I just wrote down my pick on my sheet of
Okay.
paper. My board's
Locking
on my
it in with
laptop.
Sharpie.
I locked it in. Just locked in
Late
my pick.
edition.
Lock it in.
I'm going with basically everywhere. Just a good old fashioned mozzarella stick.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I love those.
I like
That's a
it.
great. It's
I
a
like
great
it.
appetizer, especially when if you do it right and you bite into it and you just kind of pull it away from your mouth and that
Yep.
cheese just kind of strings along. I mean, that's, if you're in a high class organization when they can pull that one off for you.
The stringier, the better for sure.
It's when
Oh,
you
yeah.
bite it and also bite it. It's like, oh, what? Where was the pull? Come on, I need the pull. Otherwise, you're wasting my time.
I mean,
It is
back in the
such
day-
a huge letdown when you bite
Uh-huh.
the mozzarella sticks and it just bites like you just bite a piece of cheese. That
Yep.
sucks.
Yeah, that's not worth it.
You
at all.
basically just bought a fried string cheese roll.
Yep.
Yeah, I can do
That's
that
a
at
real
home.
letdown
string.
for sure.
Just as terribly.
Yep.
All
I
right.
about died on one of those one time.
Okay,
I can
tell
see
us
that
that story.
happening.
I need to
can see
hear
that.
that story.
I was a kid at Flaming Lantern on Sunday after church one day, and I was probably, I don't know, 7, 8. We got some piping hot mott sticks, and they were like you were talking about. I mean, they were stringing out there, and
Mhm.
God, that cheese got down my gullet, and I just couldn't get it out. I mean, my mom had to pound on my back for it seemed like several minutes before I spewed it out onto the plate.
There were a few moments in one man's life where you just wish you had the replay on it.
Oh God, it was brutal.
yeah.
I mean, I'm lucky to be here right now.
It just pops on screen right now for us to
I
watch.
could have died on a mozzarella stick that you're talking about, where you stretch out the cheese. I mean, it
Oh
was
man, that would have been a
perfectly
humiliating.
What a way to
old
go! What a way to go!
What a way to go. Yeah.
Death by cheese stick.
You'd have been in the record books, I think. Everybody else who died via cheese stick has been a slow process, but you were, just getting down to business.
Well, I just wolfed it down, and I
Yeah.
got to the point where I couldn't even chew it up. I would just start to choke.
Stringier is not always the better.
Might not be.
That's what we've
Not in
learned.
my case.
Kitty, kick off
All
round
right.
3.
I'm going to the fair and I'm getting
Oh.
myself a funnel cake.
You dick.
A little
Love funnel
powdered
cakes.
sugar on that thing.
Uh-huh.
Just and just the smell of them. It basically just hits different with the
Oh,
funnel
Yeah, it
cake.
absolutely.
does.
Yep.
There's something there. Maybe must be the powdered sugar they throw on top that just hits the
It
hot fried
does.
dough and it just puts a perfect smell in the air.
Yep.
I mean, if that line's not 30 people deep, they're making them wrong or doing something. Something's up. That is the best thing at any fair.
They still sell those at Royals games? Surely they do.
I
don't know.
got to think so. I haven't looked for one in a while.
It's an American
They can't
staple.
be like getting them at a fair, though. I mean,
Oh,
that's
no.
something
Yeah.
different.
Yep. Funnel cakes are. When you said fried food, that was the first thing that I thought about. Funnel cakes.
They were pretty high on my list. I was pretty
Yep.
happy they were still there for me.
Rants, back to you.
My third pick is, and I had these for the first time a few years ago when we were at district and Mizzou was playing OK State. We were down in the basement in the cotton hole, and I just couldn't get enough of them. I mean, I just could not get enough of the risotto balls.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I mean, I don't even know who won the game. I mean, I was just trying to find those and shovel them in. I mean, that was one of the best things that I'd ever tasted. And anytime I go there now, which isn't very often, but boom, I'm getting them. I mean,
automatic.
They're delicious. And a little dipping sauce.
That
Should have
dipping
known that
sauce.
one. I thought that was a small chance to get back to me.
Yep.
Really blew that. Really blew that.
I mean, I love them. I mean,
they're so good.
I just founder on them.
They are so good.
I mean, shout out to District. That might be like they do some great infusions and stuff and just great food in general. But the risotto balls, obviously a universally loved thing on this podcast. But I think that if you haven't messed with this risotto ball at District, change that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get them.
And I don't think I've ever seen them anywhere else. It's just something else that I've
never
I haven't
seen
either.
something very original, and I dig them immensely. Great pick. Very good. Brian.
All right, so I'm up. If I go to a place that's got good onion rings, I got to get the onion rings.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the onion rings over fries or anything else 10 out of 10 times because I love a good onion ring. And you know who has a low-key great onion ring? Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, yeah.
Do they now?
They've also got a nice little chipotle dipping sauce with it. And it's got the good breading on the breading is all about. I mean, it's all about the onion rings. But Buffalo Wild Wings makes a great onion ring. I'll eat a whole basket by myself.
So that was my near-death experience with the fried food.
Here we go.
It wasn't nearly. Mine wasn't as bad as Rance's. There was no one there to pound my back, but it was lunch. I think when I said Johnny's across from Sprint Campus there, and I had their burger with onion rings on top. Took a bite. All of a sudden, that onion ring was just sort of sliding down my throat a little quicker than everything else, and I just
no.
at that point where you can't swallow full because it's blocking your throat, and then everything else in my mouth still. I'm like, oh, am I gonna throw up at this table at lunch?
Oh no!
Wow, terrible day. I trying to low key. I had to put my fingers in my mouth and pull the other side of the onion ring.
Oh my God, man!
It was awful. I was sweating,
Whoa.
tears coming from my eyes. It was.
Yeah. That's a big time
day.
thing with choking on things is the
And because
tears.
it's like there's it's a group of 4 of us just eating lunch and no one's.
And this happened in front of them.
Other
You
people.
saved your own life in front of them.
I didn't make too much of a fuss. I thought I was working my way through it. I thought I would be okay. Took a little longer than I thought it was going to be, but I did make it out, which makes me feel better about if you live alone. I can save my own life if I start choking on onion rings, so I'm good there.
Yeah. I've also heard of the self Heimlich when you get a chair out and you just start jamming your core into it. That's
there we go.
I like it.
There's dangers out there in the food world.
yeah,
It's
you gotta
fried
watch
food.
out.
It's dangerous in more ways than one.
Yeah, I was
Cholesterol
gonna
and
say.
choking hazards.
When people say that fried foods are deadly, nobody really thinks about these literal death sentences they're trying to lay on us.
The choking hazards are
That's a
putting.
good point. Do those get chalked up with the ones that are related to cholesterol?
Great point. Yeah.
Gotta find this out. I'm gonna talk
Stay
to the
woke.
ADA right now.
Yep. Clearing waivers. Pushing medical science forward.
We're just asking.
Just asking questions. That's all we're here to do. I'm going to go with my third pick, which is a good crab rangoon. I mean, you get a decent cream cheese. You get that great ratio. There's some – I mean, you can really fuck it up. But, I mean, when it's good, and you just need more. Give me a great crab rangoon.
Do I do it again?
Good.
Not a fan.
Oh, no.
Oh no!
Something the
Not
cream cheese.
this again.
The cream cheese doesn't hit right with me. I don't know what it is.
And he loves
It's
crab,
weird.
imitation crab.
And I love imitation crab, so that's not the crab is the issue. Something with the cream cheese just doesn't hit right for me.
Can
I don't
you
know.
you say the same thing, Brian? You don't like cream cheese, but you like cream.
I'm not a
crab
huge
rangoon.
cream cheese fan, but I love crab rangoon. Yeah.
Huh.
Give it to me.
The opposite.
I've got something
That's
wrong. I've got
very
something wrong,
interesting.
obviously.
Huh.
No.
I like it. That's a good pick. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me neither.
And boys, I'm I have number 1 on my draft board, and you guys have not found it. And I kind of sensed it because you guys were headed a different direction, and
Here we
there's
go.
going to be an asterisk to
Oh,
this.
this is going to
but
be something.
This is going to
What did he
be
do?
this is going to be the pick. This is the pick.
Fried egg.
Fried bacon. You guys did not think about bacon. That is the American staple.
Yep, that's good. You're right.
There ain't nothing better than a good piece of fried bacon. You wake up in the morning and you smell that bacon and hits your nostrils, and you're automatically on the cloud 9. I mean, you wake up in a great. The best part of waking up is bacon in your stupid nostrils. Get out of here, Folgers.
See, I cook mine in the oven, so I don't fry it.
That's right. I mean,
Oh, God.
Arguably, I will say
That was all for you, Rance. That was all for
baking
you.
bacon is
That's a total
superior.
Schlansky move.
Have you had it? Have you baked your bacon yet?
Never will.
That's a,
You
rest-
should.
that's a restaurant move because they have to do it all so much at one time.
I
I
just
prefer
like to
bacon.
fry it. I like to fry it up.
That's fine. That's traditional. That's a good way to go. I like
and
to
I
bake.
mean, I kind of
That's a good-
debated on that kind of thing too, because there's a
That's
lot
a
of
good
things we
fourth
call
round
that are fried, but they're
Fried
cooked on
in
a
pan.
griddle
Right.
Yeah.
compared to just dropping it in hot grease.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I battled myself all day what the way I was going to go with that.
Well, I went with it.
I guess so.
I'm
Yeah,
okay
wait.
with it.
I
There's
like
enough grease
cooking
in-
bacon
there's-
on the smoker is pretty good too.
There's enough grease in
Throw
that
that
pan
one out
for,
there.
for
How long
fried
does that
bacon.
take?
True.
How long is a bacon on a smoker take?
Just crank it up high. I mean, about 20 minutes. It's pretty good.
Interesting. Okay.
Just got to pay attention to it so it don't get away from you, but it's not bad.
Keep that in mind.
So
Brian, back to you.
Well, my last pick, I'm going back to my redneck roots here, and I'm going fried mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
everybody
Morels.
that's got fried mushrooms at a restaurant, they're perfectly fine if they give you the little button mushrooms. But I'm talking the morels
Mm-hmm.
that they find in the wild around here after it rains and stuff.
Okay.
If you find a good farmer or something that's selling those things out of a 5-gallon bucket, get yourself some of those, slice them up, get them all breaded. They are heavenly. I love some
Mhm.
fried morels.
Shout out to Grandma Betty. She had the fried morels recipe of all time.
That's right.
It's like a delicacy, really,
It really is.
because you can't find them. I mean, obviously they only grow during a certain time, and it's hit or miss. I mean, you only got maybe a day or two to find them, and they are. I agree, man. Great pick.
They have
Yeah, that's
that
gotta be
place
better.
south of Nevada that was apparently able to grow them artificially, and now it's a graveyard.
Yeah.
Apparently, it wasn't
Yeah.
great.
Oh,
They had a giant
Why not give
mushroom.
enough?
In the
Yeah.
middle.
It's still there, I
That's still
believe.
there. Yep.
the giant mushroom still there? Just rusted over.
Yeah, it's about 75 feet tall.
It's tall.
Very tall.
Makes me hungry.
Yep. I want those right now. Rance, we're at your final pick.
Well, I've got 2 picks here that are still there that I'm having a hard time trying to pick between either one, but I'm going to go back to the Fair Days, State Fair, Bates County Fair. I always had to have me a nice corn dog.
Uh-huh. On my list.
Mhm.
High on my list.
And I'm not talking about just a regular sized corn dog. Give me that big old jumbo football
Oh, yeah.
corn dog,
Uh-huh.
Old behemoth corn dog coming at you.
mustard, ketchup. I mean, I'm going to go with a corn dog. I mean, something about just biting into that breading and that dog at the same time, full of ketchup. It's delicious.
We might have to do a draft of like fair and 4th of July carnival foods. Seems like we can get a
We've
pretty
had some
solid round of
spoilers on
that.
what people like so far.
Yeah,
Study the draft boards.
that's right. Corn dog, great pick. I mean,
Funnel cake and corn
it's a
dogs.
toss up. It's a toss up what the titular fair food is between a funnel cake and a corn dog, and I mean cotton candy's probably up there too.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's a good debate. We could probably keep trade cut that. Maybe that's the route we go.
There it is.
Kitty, bring it home.
All right, I'm gonna go back to the sea, but I'm going with the old hush puppy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, love me some hush puppies. God, they're so good. I used to feel like I usually pop those like Tic Tacs when we go to
Oh yeah.
or something. Just so many hush puppies.
When you go to the
How many
Hamptons.
How many hush puppies can I eat?
Crab cakes and hush puppies.
Sometimes you get some good cracklings with those too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, they would fall in some once in a while. That was a bonus.
Oh yeah.
Hush Puppy's like pizza. It's like any bad Hush Puppy is still really, really good.
Very true.
Great pick. All right. Well, I'm curious to see how that goes. I got Bacon in the 4th round. I think we got a lock on who's winning this one, but I mean, I'm curious
That's
to see what
pretty
the
good,
Pisters
man.
kind of think.
One that didn't get picked here, I got to give a
Yep.
shout out to. If you go to a Mexican restaurant that has fried tacos,
Yes.
do yourself a favor and get those. Because
Yep.
if you've never had a fried taco, it's a taco, but it's fried. And it gets even more delicious after it's fried.
Get a sopapilla too.
What about
Yeah.
pickles?
Yeah, I like pickles.
Wondered
I
if
don't
that was
like.
going to make it
I
on
love
there.
pickles. Hate fried pickles.
Man,
That's interesting.
Another just the two things don't mix right for me. Again, I don't know what it is.
it's sad.
No one took a donut, just a roll.
See, I
old-fashioned
got
Or a
maple
beignet.
long john on mine. Maple long john is the king
I was
of
trying to go-
donuts.
I was gonna go fancy and go beignet.
Of course you were.
A beignet.
Makes a lot of sense.
God, you make
Another
me
Slansky
sick.
pick.
A beignet from Paris.
Yeah. Going to the French Quarter, Louisiana.
Uh-huh.
I'm on beignet.
Such a world traveler.
Yep. Cultured.
Hush puppies in the Hamptons and beignets in the French Quarter.
I would love to see what part of the
You
sea
wanna
that
puke.
Hush Puppies comes from, by the way.
Yeah, from the sea.
I know
from
it's at
Captain
every
D,
seafood,
so it's from the
but
sea.
The Captain D's back in the ocean, boys.
it's as from the sea as Captain D's was.
It's cooked in the same oil as the fish, so it's from the
Uh-huh.
sea.
Exactly. Yeah. Makes sense to me.
I had an onion ring today from Sonic, and it was cooked in the French toast stick oil, so that had a little sweetness to
goodness,
it.
that
Very
sounds
interesting. Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice little added sweetness.
Not
Almost a
a
little
bad
dessert.
pairing. Yep. So let's get into the final segment of the week.
Beignet.
What you watch on TV? It's got to be something I've never seen. Waiver Watch.
Waiver watch for the week. I'm going to go first. I think I've led off most of these because I don't lead off any of the other ones. But
Go
I'm
for it.
going to lead off with a waiver watch for my week. I watched Jojo the Rabbit this week. Taika Waititi.
What's
It's a
that?
comedy about Nazi Germany.
Okay.
So it follows a 10-year-old boy who's part of like the Hitler Youth, and he has an imaginary friend that is Taika Waititi as Hitler, but he's a very like flamboyant and contemporary Hitler. Seems like very edgy, but it is fantastic. It's very funny. Scarlett Johansson's in it, really, really good. Can't think of his name.
But a lot of Oscar buzz on that movie. Or
It
got
was-
nominated for Oscars. Did anyone win them?
I
Did it win anything?
don't think
I can't remember
so.
if it won anything, but got a lot of nominations.
It's a bold
Sam
premise.
Rockwell. Sam Rockwell was in it. He might have actually gotten some supporting actor love on that. He was very, very good. But Rebel Wilson's in it. Reek from Game of Thrones is in it. But it mainly follows this kid who's part of the Hitler Youth, very like Nazi fanboy, and then it kind of just follows him in a very like hijinksy kind of way during the fall of the Nazi empire, or not empire, but Nazi party control, whatever have you. But very, very good. Best movie I've probably seen since I watched Parasite a few months ago. So I'd put it in that realm. I definitely, it's on HBO, I think, right now. So I'd 100% recommend going and watch Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
Huh.
Very
Rance, what do you got?
Well, I mean, I know that I've watched a lot of playoff basketball, haven't watched a lot of TV, but a couple evenings ago, me and my wife were trying to get my daughter to watch something different, try to set her down, just calm her down before bed. And we turned on Our Planet on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
I just got locked in. I
Yep.
mean, the camera work. I mean, David, what's his name, Attenborough or
Attenborough,
whatever,
yep.
his soothing voice
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about what's going on, the visuals. We just kind of sat there and watched like 45 minutes of it and just watch the first episode or so. And I think I'm going to go back to it and watch a few more. I thought it was great. I mean, just
it's a really good
kind
show.
of kind of relaxing,
Oh,
just
yeah.
kind of mellow. And
Yep.
so, I mean, I know it's nothing special, but I mean, It's a nice way to spend an evening.
Yep.
I think is Our
yeah.
Planet the one that had the lizard that was just running across the beach with just covered in snakes?
It's something similar
I
to
don't
that.
know.
I don't know if that's cut from the same. They did like a series years ago called Planet Earth,
Yep.
and it's very similar to this. And
Yeah.
that Planet Earth was like on Discovery, and I think maybe Sigourney Weaver or something.
Oh, you're right.
I
Yep.
watched all those, but that's been 4 or 5 years, 6 years ago.
Yep.
But I'm kind of digging this Our Planet type thing.
That's
So,
the underrated thing about having kids is you get to go back and try to watch these educational things. She's like, this is actually pretty damn awesome.
this isn't too
Yeah.
bad.
A lot of those things like Disney Nature have like a behind the scenes. Like this is how we shot all these shots, and you're just like, I'm probably gonna watch this later.
I mean,
It's
you don't even
mind-blowing how
need.
close they get to
Uh-huh.
to the animal.
Crazy town.
I don't even think you need sound half the time for some of that stuff. It's so visually entertaining.
True.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's
it
just
is.
the colors and everything. Like you said, the cameras are so close. They get the slow mo from like with like a hummingbird flapping its wings so fast. I mean, you just get some
It's nuts.
amazing visuals.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So you'd recommend Our Planet?
I would.
Yep.
I'm going to definitely watch the whole season. So.
I'm there
He's
with
going
you.
back for seconds. That's an endorsement if
am.
I ever heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty, let's go to you.
All right, so I'm very much in Rance's boat. A lot of basketball playoffs, a lot of baseball, but I did make some time for a show I saw on True TV, little Hot Ones, the game show.
Oh, yeah.
Guys might know
Yeah,
Hot
that's
Ones from
good.
the just the YouTube, basically 15, 20-minute videos of people eating progressively hotter wings.
Yep.
We kind of adapted that into a game show format, which is actually very entertaining.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They have people eat a wing to start the day, and then they start answering trivia questions, then eat another super hot wing, answer some more trivia questions, and then they go just nuclear on the hot sauce.
Start getting the
And
Reapers.
You've only got
Oh,
the
it's
Reapers. What they do, you got to
brutal.
eat like one bite, and then they start asking questions. And apparently, the science behind it is once you start eating stuff this hot, your brain doesn't work the same way anymore.
Yeah, it goes
Right.
to
So
mush.
trivia is not your strong suit at this point. So it's fun to watch people just because they're all basically sweating, eyes are watering, mouths don't close because they don't want to touch their tongue to their lips anymore.
Yep.
So just the visual of people staring into
You're
the
in
distance
headlights.
while the guys asking questions is pretty funny. And like the last round is a really good punishment reward. If you get the question right, you have to eat more hot wing.
Oh.
You want to win the money so you can go to the final round, but then you have to also eat more hot wing. That's just
Oh.
ridiculously on fire. One lady had to just bow out. She quit. She couldn't continue. She was laying on the
Wow.
ground. Just, I can't do it. I can't
I want to
do
see
it.
Rance do this.
And oh, good Lord.
I'd be out after the mild. And just a little splash of mild on there, I'd be finished.
Talk about crying.
God.
It's a very entertaining half hour of a game show. So
Interesting.
I
you run
like
across
that.
that, just flipping channels, just make sure you stop on that one just to watch that for a little while.
Okay. I'll check that out. The hot ones, the interviews with the celebrities and stuff is just, it's a great rabbit hole to go down in and of itself.
Yes.
I mean, like you talked about, they get kind of distracted and stuff, and it happens to everybody. They either take it in stride and it's no big deal, or they just go completely locked down and they can't focus on anything
Yeah.
else.
And they don't. Like,
They did a Ramsey's hot one.
Oh
Hot
yeah, he
ones.
was.
Okay.
He was that was a very interesting one.
Contestants. They don't let the contestants drink anything.
Oh,
They're just suffering through hot sauce constantly. And then if you do make it through the final round, you get a giant cold milkshake.
that's
Nice.
good. And they'll down it in
One of those
10
big old
seconds.
27-ounce big old glasses with a handle type of milkshake.
And that's all the winners win.
They
Right.
get 25,000 too, but
A
all they
milkshake.
really want, they every single person says, "I want the milkshake more."
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Brian, I think that brings us to you. What do you got?
I got two quick follow-ups to a couple of things that Rance threw out there, but I think maybe he didn't finish them at the time. He was just kind of getting started on it, and so I knocked those out this past couple of weeks. White Lines on Netflix. I had watched a couple episodes before Rance brought it up, and we kind of got distracted on some other shows and never went back to it. But I was glad he brought it back up because I went back and finished it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. As Rance said, it's set in Ibiza, and it's
Ibiza.
Ibiza.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh. I was
Yeah.
about to correct him.
I'm cultured. No big
Yeah.
deal.
Yes, I know.
The sister's going back to Ibiza to investigate her brother's murder from 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of fun flashbacks because he was like a popular DJ in Ibiza. So it's just party flashbacks all the time. They're kind of fun to watch. And she's hanging out with all his friends that were his friends at the time. So I enjoyed the hell out of that. I'd say 2 thumbs up. I also watched Fear City on Netflix, the 3-part doc on the FBI taking down the mob in New York. And I finished that really wanting more.
Yeah,
felt like,
absolutely.
the 3rd episode I gave us a little bit more, but the first 2 episodes were basically we figured out how to wiretap, so we wiretapped them and caught them. And it's like, okay.
I thought that was something they could have went 8 to 10 episodes on. I mean,
Absolutely.
I was bummed out. I mean,
I wanted to know more of the scheme that the mobs were actually using. They would kind of mention it, but never got into detail about how they actually executed their hustles. And that's the part that I think it was interesting. And they didn't really get into that enough.
I know.
So
I wonder
I'm
if
kind of
it's still like
thumb
an
sideways.
active. I mean, the New York mob is still very much out there.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's part of like an active investigation where they can only release so much because it's still kind of
I
under
don't know.
investigation.
I mean, that was quite a while ago. And
When they were interviewing those mob guys, I mean, I could have listened to them talk all day about stuff.
Yeah.
They were
They had-
great.
they had no problems telling stories.
No, the storytelling was amazing, and just the dialogue and all that, and
That's
I
what
wanted
Except
I
for
wanted a
Jimmy
lot
Hoffa's
more out.
movie.
I wanted a lot more out of that show too.
Absolutely. So it was kind of a letdown, but they definitely watch White Lines. Stay with it.
Interesting. Okay. Kind of along those lines, if you're looking for like a crime podcast, Crime Town. I don't know if you've listened to that, but it's really good. Kind of a similar more politically driven crime podcast, but highly recommend that. Great
Is it true
storytelling in it
stories?
too. Yep. It's like a mayor in some town in Maryland. Can't imagine or can't remember for sure, but it kind of jumps around the same political figure, but he's got ties to Detroit and all these other towns. So I'd highly recommend it too. We're a big crime television series podcast driven. It seems like reality television, crime television, Clearing Waivers podcast.
That being
Here's your
said,
Venn
Love
diagram.
Island is back this week, baby.
Saw that.
And they filmed. I guess they're filming like right now because there's definitely quarantine going on, and they've got just basically the rooftop of a Vegas casino that's just their
Oh,
island.
my
They didn't actually go to an island.
Yeah.
They all
Oh,
just
wow.
got tested for weeks and quarantined, and then they threw them in there together.
Fun time.
Just total
Interesting.
debauchery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, that's going to do it here for the Clearing Waivers podcast for this week. Appreciate you joining us. Good to be back in the saddle after a week off. We do appreciate everybody kind of sticking with us, but we're going to do the regular audio release on all your podcast providers near you that you'll get first thing in the morning. Something different we're going to do is instead of doing these live premieres, we're just going to drop it on our YouTube channel. So you get the video anytime you want it. Once it's dropped, you don't have to worry about being at a certain place at a certain time. Just watch it at your leisure. That's the way we're going to do it from now on. But yeah, join us on the YouTube channel. Just search Clearing Waivers, and then you can hit the bell to get notifications whenever we drop something. Subscribe to us so you always know when we're available, and then share it with a friend. We're trying to grow something here. We always like to bring in any kind of sink fishers that we can get. So we do appreciate anybody that you share that with. But outside of that, social media at Clearing Waivers, you can find us on all the Twitter and the Instagram and the Facebook as well. So for Brian, Rance, Kitty, and myself, we do appreciate you one more time, and ta-ta for now.
Nerves in a restless crowd. The burning sun. Now nowhere to be found. Deep underground. flames. Don't go, oh, somebody walking away. Hold your body close to the flames. Don't go, oh, somebody walking away. Oh, a loaded gun. Pressed against my brow, 'cause I wonder how all this undone. Holding fast to a vow, 'cause I laugh aloud. 'Cause I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. My pages burning will all be dead under virgin snow. I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. My pages burning will all be dead under virgin snow. So hold your body close to the flames. Don't go, somebody walking away. Oh, hold your body close to the flames. Don't go, somebody walking away. Oh. Hold your body close to the flame.